In this video, I'm just going to go over some of the different staking options in Field Genius. So before we begin, there's a series of options that we can change. So if we go to Settings and then Options, down here you'll see one called Staking. Click on the plus there. And over here, what we're looking at is the staking point ID method and these values here. So by default, it will say none. So when you stake out a point, let's say you're staking out 0.3, when it prompts you to store a point, the point ID it's going to use is going to be that 0.3 in order to overwrite it. Of course, when you click the store point, it'll give you the prompt to either overwrite or use next available ID. But you can bypass that prompt and what point ID is used by selecting a different method here. So if you select next, if I was to store stake out 0.3 and my next available point was 0.5, then when I go to store the point, the default ID that's going to show up is going to be 0.5 instead of defaulting back to 0.3. If we use an additive value, what it's going to do, it's going to add this number to whatever the stake point is. So if we're staking 0.3 and go to store the point, it's going to show the default point that's going to show up is 1003. The other two values is the prefix and suffix. So if I'm staking point 2, for example, and I have the prefix one set up, when it goes to store that point, it's going to show s-2 for that point ID. And it'll be the same thing if I have suffix, and then here will be 2-stake. So I'll just go over some of the examples here. So I'll just start with the next one. Press OK. So down here you can see my next point ID is 0.5, and I have 4 points in here. So I'm just going to go and stake out 0.4. I'll just move my rover onto there. Change my standard measure to staking. Stake points. And I'm going to stake 0.4. I'm going to stake that. So now that I'm on it, I'm going to take a shot. Store point. In this case, I want to save the point in the raw data file. Of course, you can toggle this so it doesn't show up every single time. And notice how it's using the next point ID, which is 0.5. So I can cancel out of that. And now let's go over the different options. So I'll go back to Settings, Options, open up Staking. I'll use the additive one. So I'll select that, and I want to add 1000 to the point. Press OK. So I'm going to stake out 0.4. I'll go to Staking. Or another option to do is just select 0.4 and click on the staking option. So now I'm staking 0.4, stake it, take a shot, store the position, and notice how it add 1004 for that point. Finally, I'll show you the prefix and suffix one, so I'll just cancel out of this. Go to Settings, Options, Staking. I'll go over the prefix one. So here I have a prefix of s dash, so I'll press OK. Select 0.4, I'm going to stake 0.4, stake point, take a shot, store position, and notice how it has the point ID s-4. And of course the same thing will happen if I had the suffix, it will show 4-stake. And then I can store that point. Close this. Open up my point database, it stores 0.4, which was staked, and then this is the stake point that we stored, which was s-4. So that's how you use the different staking options in Field Genius.